At first, I thought when in doubt, add more lights, but apparently that makes for a poor choice. I mean, look at that. Yikes. Ew, gross. Don't do that. Get rid of that. Now. Thank you. Bye. Hey everyone, and welcome to my channel. My name is Alexandra. In today's video, I am making a little tiny home because I am not creative. No, I'm kidding. What ended up happening was this. I love tiny homes. I think they're very creative. But what happened was that I had a lot of things to do, and I kind of had a chores kind of day today, and I wanted to make something quick and simple. And so I came up with this tiny home idea because I couldn't be bothered building a huge home that required a lot out of me. So I did this little tiny house, and it's a tier 2, nothing new. We don't do micro homes on this channel. We just do not. That is the devil's work, and we don't do it. No. Point in fact, I'm actually not that creative when it comes to making my space very space efficient. I don't know. I'm not very good about that. So we stick to tier 2 and tier 2s and tier 3s here. But I decided to come up with this home where it's on that very isolated island in Windenburg. It's very bougie. Everyone who lives there is either rich or famous or both. And I figured that they do have this little tiny 20 by 20 lot, and I figured that whoever decided to live on this 20 by 20 lot is kind of posh. They come from San Myshuno, and they got that bread, they have that money, and they decided that they were going to live here, but they didn't want to be surrounded by that many people. Anyway, that's kind of the idea that I had because I clearly get way too attached to my Sims, so I have to think of a storyline for the home, otherwise it makes no sense. But the roof, which I don't know, at first it looked kind of thank God for eco living, really thank God for eco living, because let me be honest with you, if it wasn't for those little what's it called, I forgot. English is not my friend. It usually never is, but it's the solar panels. Thank you. I was going to say those thingies that collect energy, but those solar panels, thanks to those solar panels, I was able to hide this little mistake. Well, not a mistake really, but this area where I try to make a skylight over the bed because bougie, I know. And it was something that I saw that you can do really nice when it's up against something, but if it's in the middle of a roof, it doesn't look that good. So when I tried to sort of cut out the space for the roof, when I tried to put another roof piece in front of the glass roof, it didn't look that well. So I decided to put solar panels in there to kind of hide it and make it flush with the rest of the roofing. And it turned out as good as I could possibly have expected it to turn out. And yeah, I'm proud of that. Listen, when you make mistakes, when things just don't go right in your builds, it is more than fine for you to hide it, mask it, do whatever you possibly can to make sure that it's not visible, because listen, we don't care about perfection. No, but there's this little trick that I like to do ever since I saw how big that for tiny living, ironically enough, that lamp is kind of big, and I decided to put in that tiny living lamp area a little succulent plant, because I don't know, I'm pretty sure a bunch of other people have done that. I haven't seen it being done, so I'm not going to claim credit for it and being like, oh, look what I did. But I haven't seen other people do it. And so I've decided to put a little succulent plant there. And it's actually really pretty. I like the way that it turns out because it's kind of like this little stand. You could also put some magazines that come with Moschino stuff. How do you pronounce it? How do you call it? Do you call it Moschino stuff or do you call it Moschino? Because I've heard it pronounced both ways, and I always thought it was Moschino. I don't know. Back in the day isn't that long ago, honestly. I think about 5 years ago, I used to be really into watching runway videos. We've deterred really far from what I'm doing here, which is building a home. But you know what? That's fine. Let's go a little down history lane. So I used to watch these runway videos, and they would name who the models were walking for. Some were Versace, and if you want to be super snobby, it's not Versace, it's Versace, but I personally call it Versace. Anyway, we've gone really far. How I heard it was called Moschino, and that was by not the owner of the brand, by one of the models who worked for it. And it really reminded me of that part where Tyra was like, you gotta know how to pronounce the names of the brands that you're working for, because it just looks really bad if you don't. And yeah, so I don't know. I've heard it called Moschino. It really doesn't matter, but Tell me down below, how do you call it? Yeah, just spell it Moschino, S-H-E, or Moschino with a K. I don't know. But anyway, this is a limited pack build. Back on track. We're back on track. And the one thing that's out of place are those trees. Basically, I wanted to keep it a lot of eco-living and base game, but what ended up happening was I wanted the trees to kind of add as like ambient lighting around the outside, which is really pretty and nice. And so I decided to use the one from like movie night stuff where they have these lanterns hanging down from the trees, and it lit up the space very nicely at night, and I decided I was going to keep that. But anyway, it's not a Sasha builds video if I don't have those base game flowers everywhere. I love them, I really do, and I love like outlining the base of the tree with them because it gives it that very magical, flirty-esque, I wouldn't say flirty, but it's like that magicalness where you have like flowers growing all around the tree or a hedge. And I decided to do that. So I also carved out like a little path in this tiled kind of like terrain paint. I could have used the actual, what's it called, like flooring, but it didn't look as pretty, and I aligned the whole walkway with rocks, and it looked actually pretty nice. I like the way that turned out. Anyway, guys, we're getting really close to the end of the video. If you like this video or you like any other content I've put up on my channel, please consider leaving a like, commenting, and subscribing, because that lets me know that you like the stuff that I've been putting out. So that being said, I will leave you content every other day. But before we do finish, I replaced those little homemade rods because they started clipping all the way to the wall, and I couldn't have that. So I decided to put up this high kind of fence to give you privacy anyway, because imagine having those doors and everyone being able to see you sleep. I don't know. That doesn't really tickle my fancy. I don't like that idea. So I hope you like it. Anyway, guys, bye.